Alright everyone, hey, what's up guys? Welcome. Alright, let me see if my audio is working fine here. Let me adjust the mic. Everything should be in order. Let's see. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, perfect. Alright. Well, welcome guys to this week's live stream. Today's Monday, the very first trading day of this week. And mind you, it's the last full trading week of September. Oh, what's up guys? Hello. Come in. Welcome in. We're just beginning here, so get comfortable. We're gonna be talking about a lot of things as stated in the description box, so make sure you guys read that, and most importantly, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm, and if you guys aren't subscribed yet, I don't know why you wouldn't be. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. We're nearly at 600 subscribers, so make sure you guys hit that sub button down below if you aren't subscribed yet. Alright, so let's first begin with the very first topic for tonight. Okay, so we're going to first go over the tickers from the CFO Swinger Watch Report from this week. Alright, well for this week, right, from September 22nd through 26th. I just want to give you guys a quick chart update on every one of the tickers that I have put in the CFO Swinger Watch Report for this week. Okay, so we're going to go over that first, and then we're going to talk about the overall state of the markets, especially the small and mid caps, and what this current run in that asset class or asset classes could mean for the overall market, and what it means for next year as well, since we are to get more rate cuts next year. Okay, so let's first off begin with the CFO Swinger Watch Report. Okay, so what we have here is for any of you guys who are not familiar with the report, this is a weekly report that is sent out to my readers. Okay, obviously you have to be subscribed, and they also get full access to the private CFO Discord chat room and community as well. So that's a little plus that you get when you do become a reader of the CFO Swinger Watch Report. But this is what you'll be getting every single Sunday night. Okay, so this is the first page. But what I want to do is I want to go to the actual, so obviously there's the market summary here. I'm not going to go over this obviously, but in the market summary section, I also give you guys, or give my readers, an unusual option contracts list, right? So these are tickers that I go over, and these 4 tickers made it to the list for this week, since I have noted that there are some odd and unusual options activity on these specific tickers. Okay, so you guys might want to pause or take a screenshot of this. You might want to do something here to just give you guys a little bit of some ideas for tonight or for the rest of this year. And well, there you have it, right? So, but yeah, so here is the section of the report that I want to go over tonight. Okay, so there's usually another section to this report, but I decided to not have it because of the fact that we just had a plethora of tickers this week, and we were just flooded and inundated with tickers that were just looking way too good from a technical perspective. So it just had to go into my MM list, or what we like to call momentum mentions list. Okay, so here's kind of the update that I have for this week, for this week's MM list. Okay, so I said we have a bunch of weekly time frame charts to look at, along with a bunch of mid cap and small cap stocks this week. So be prepared to see a lot of So be prepared to set a lot of alerts, and be prepared to hear and see those alerts go out this week. I'll also have some short setups coming next week. Okay, so this is going to be a pretty interesting one to list to go over, because, well, all of this has occurred so far, right? We have a bunch of mid and small cap stocks, and all the alerts that I've set so far for all of my momentum mentions tickers have all went off. Okay, so let's go over this. Okay, so first of all, we have AMGN. Okay, so AMGN, all right, I have it right here, has a massive macro wedge chart pattern, and I'm not gonna go over every single one of the technical analysis here, but for each single ticker, but I'll just go over briefly of what has occurred today. So AMGN continues to stay within the parameters set up by this macro wedge chart pattern, and today had a nice red to green move after we saw some brief period of indecision in the early morning, as it just kind of stuck in between the ranges, the higher end ranges, or at least the upper half range that was made last Friday, and ultimately it broke over 283, which I really wanted to see today, and ultimately ended up coming up and almost nearly retesting its daily 200 SMA. So this one has a lot of explosive potential if it's able to break over its daily 200, this yellow line here, and the daily 50 SMA, this dark blue line right over here. Okay, so far, the price is supporting the short-term trend is to the upside due to the fact that we have the daily 10 and the daily 21 SMAs both supporting the price up higher, and the fact that today and last Friday, the price closed above both of my two short-term SMAs. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, and now if you guys are wondering why I'm going over the list tickers before I move on, well, is that I want to give you guys also a very quick short masterclass, right, in technical analysis and how I do technical analysis here at Charts Focus One, and how we basically look at tickers from our specific angle, our own technical angle here using technical analysis. Okay, and also I will obviously want to show you guys the report that I sent out every single Sunday night. So I just wanted to give you guys all a quick peek, especially for anyone who's watching the live stream or the replay who is not a part of the CFO Swinger Watch Report. Okay, so again, make sure you guys hit that like button down below, because I have never done this where I've just given you guys a complete full look to the report. So make sure you guys hit that like button down below. All right, so that's it for AMGN. Now we have DDOG. All right, so this is a name that I have been talking about for many months. All right, and so DDOG here, clearly on the weekly time frame, making a very nice flag here. I would call it a bull pennant here at this point now. There's a lot of trend lines here, so I won't make it too crazy here. I mean, it is already crazy, but on the weekly time frame at that as well. But if you guys don't see the bullish pennant, well, here it is. Right, so we have the flagpole up here, and the flag or the pennant right here, right? So if you are looking at DDOG right today, very nice price action right at the bat to start this week, and you know, I really wouldn't mind if we decide to break over and out of this nice bullish pennant, but if we were to, obviously this is just judging by one single trading day's price action and range. If we were to stick with this inside the weekly candlestick here, I also would not mind that, because then next week there's a huge possibility and probability that we'll see a very massive breakout to the upside, and that's exactly what I want to be seeing, especially when our entry point for a confirmation breakout entry point is over 140.10, because at that point the price is sitting at 140, we'll be out of this nice wedge or this nice bullish pennant flag. Okay, and then now SOUN. So this one we have been swing trading really well. Okay, and you know, we were initially in as seen here, right? So let me get a little closer here. So this is our first mid-cap stock for this week that we have already been in for a bit, right? We've been swing this for quite some time now. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome in. Hello. Nice to see everyone in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. But for anyone who's just joining us, right now we are on the third ticker from the list. Okay, just letting you guys know, giving you guys a quick update. But again, if you guys are just joining us now, you guys can always go back to the replay, which I always recommend to do if you guys come in late or if you guys have missed the live stream. Okay, so with that being said, let me go back here. So if you are in the CFO Discord, you should know that the 15 strike call contract on the October 17th expiration date has been a contract we have been swinging so far, as it holds, as it has 113,862 contracts in open interest. But if you want a more out the money contract, the 19 strike call contract on the November 21st expiration date has a lot of open contracts as well, sitting at 15,636 contracts in OI with over 12,000 contracts in volume from last Friday. So now you guys should see and check out those contracts, because again, we were in the 15 strike call contract, and obviously the 19 strike call contract is what we were looking at as well over the weekend on Sunday night. But all of these numbers have changed, the OI and the volume. So make sure you guys check the OI. That's the most important part for this ticker here, because if you were to sustain a continued momentum right up higher, we need to see the OI for both contracts, not only the one we're looking at, we've been in now, but the one we're looking at, the 19 strike call contract, to hold. Right now, the reason why I even chose the 19 strike call contract, so if any of my readers are in here, you guys should know why already. Right, so SOUN, we're looking at the 19 strike call contract because it is the first target for this potential swing trade. If anyone got an entry point today over 16.55, if they haven't been with us since I think last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, I think. I think it was last week. Yeah, I think it was last week when I sent out that swing trade. Okay, so you know, this one is looking really good. There's nothing really to be looking at other than the fact that very massive rounding base here, right? Even on the monthly time frame, very nice round base, and that has potential to come back to retest the previous all-time high areas, right? And that's the only thing though, we need to get past that $19 whole number level, that resistance level, in order to get back to the 20s here. And that's gonna be hard because, well, there's a lot of supply once we hit $19. So, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? If you're in this with us and if you want to take some profits, that's fine. If you guys already did that today, that's completely fine. If you guys take it all off, again, that's completely fine. Okay, especially if you guys have been swinging this with us since last week, or I think we began the swing on. Let's see. Oh, it was last week. Yeah, I think maybe it was on Thursday of last week. Yeah, I think so. I think it was on this day. Yeah. So, you know, SOUN, definitely keep your eyes on this one. There's a lot of volume. The average volume has been continuously increasing ever since we've had this nice massive earnings gap up, and obviously an earnings drift up higher, and ultimately we had this nice big move down, erase the earnings, move up, but we didn't end up filling the gap, right? So I think this is truly the beginning of a huge uptrend for SOUN back towards its all-time high price print somewhere in the 20s here. Okay, but again, a lot of supply here. Okay, so we need to watch out how the price reacts at $19. Right? Okay, I'll start to go a little bit faster here now. Okay. Okay, so now here is our, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, fourth. There's our fourth ticker here, but this is our second mid-cap stock that we have swung before using the 19 strike call contract and the November 21st expiration date. And that is exactly the same contract that we will be using because the OI is still sitting at a full 12,758 contracts, again, from the initial swing trade that we took on RUN. This is a solar name, right? And we're ready to see the price hit $19 and higher. And again, the same target as I've just discussed with SOUN, right? SOUN. So for run here, amazing breakout today, right? So look at what we were looking at on Sunday night, right? Bam. Okay. So let me make sure that you guys can actually see it here. Very nice Thai flag, very nice breakout. Okay, side by side here, right? So obviously we're looking for a breakout over $17. This is the major horizontal resistance level here at the whole number level of $17. Very nice flag, and all the macro factors are in place for solar to continue to run up higher. With more rate cuts on the horizon, the rate cut schedule is looking very good into next year as well. But for now, we'll be looking into the end of this year, so into Q4. So make sure you guys have RUN on your watch lists as well. Okay, so Also, RUN, right? Very, very high short interest percentage as well of 29.1%. I would like to see this slowly going down as the price moves up higher because, again, having a high short interest percentage is not always a good thing, right? You always hear this from day traders and a lot of people who don't know exactly what they're talking about when regarding the short interest percentage or short float, right? Because again, they think that's just a way to have a potential short squeeze, right? Which is true in some sense, but there's a nuance to it, right? Because if a short interest percentage is up over 10%, at 10% or over 10%, that's pretty big, right? And there's a high chance that, well, there's a more probable chance that the price will continue to go down, right? As a lot more short interest, right? That's exactly what it says, right? The name says it, right? So, or even short flow, if you want to use short flow. So, I would love to see this short interest percentage going back down towards the teens as we move up higher. That'd be great, right? And we just continue to squeeze out the shorts, and that'd be great, right? So RUN, Sunrun, very, very nice laggard solar stock to look at. I've talked about this many times. We've also gone over this many times, and we've also swung this before as well, right around here back in August, mid-August to late August. Okay. All right, and then next we have PTON, right? So this is Peloton. We haven't seen this name in a while, right? So let me actually go to that now. Okay, so very, very nice looking name here. Let me also go on the weekly time frame as well. So this one looks almost similar to, well, a lot of the trade ideas that I've given out in the list for this week, right? They have everyone has a lot of similarity so far, and PTON especially here has been making a very, very nice, massive consolidation phase here, and it's just making a very nice sideways cut is what I would say, right? And obviously it can still make that handle, but if it doesn't make a cup, if it doesn't make a handle to accompany the cup, this is just most likely just a nice sideways rounding bottom, right? As it continues to figure out where it needs to go, right? And obviously there are concerns of valuation, growth, right? Earnings growth, but we're starting to see a lot more just from a fundamental perspective and fundamental analysis that I've done on PTON, which I didn't include here because I just had a few inquiries into PTON that I asked myself as to if I should be looking at this for a longer term perspective as well, not just from a momentum swing trade perspective. And again, why do I say it's a momentum swing trade perspective? Because, well, this is the MM list, right? This is the momentum mentions list, right? So we're looking at this in a perspective of the short to mid-term time frames for our swing trades, right? So PTON, there is some good stuff that is starting to come out from the company. Good numbers is what I would say. There's definitely a better potential valuation in the future for this company if it's able to continue to just execute what it's planning to do, right? But I think it is improving, and Peloton could potentially be a turnaround story after its massive success during COVID, right? So who knows, right? We'll see, right? But based on the fundamental metrics that I've seen so far on PTON and what I look at personally, those specific fundamental metrics, there is some promise for this one. Okay, so again, you guys can take a look at this, screenshot this, do whatever you want, especially for people who are watching the replay. Just pause the replay video here and just read it, okay? But yeah, so this is what I think for PTON. It hasn't done anything just yet today. I just like the fact that it did make a nice little higher high by 1 cent, which gives me a little bit more confidence that this one's ready to blow to the top and eventually break over this descending resistance trendline on the weekly time frame and ultimately break out of this massive not even 1 year yet, but all year long consolidation pattern or rounding bottoming chart pattern here, right? So as long as it's able to break over this descending resistance trend line, there's a lot of room to the top side. Okay, there's a lot of room. Okay, and it has a lot of room to really just, if it wants to, or if the bulls really want to, if they believe that this is a turnaround story, we can be seeing a lot of supply being absorbed here in the tens, especially here, right, in the double digits. Okay, so I know Peloton is not really a COVID darling anymore, right? This may just potentially be the beginning of a turnaround story. Okay. But do you guys see how I have included 3 mid-cap stocks so far in the list for this week? Okay, so now I had a lot more mid-cap stocks to add on here, but again, this list alone was a lot. Okay, even for me, right, for just one single week alone, because usually I have around 3 to 4 tickers, usually 4 tickers every single CFO Swinger Watch report. So this is a lot. Okay, so now we're gonna start going into these small cap stocks that I've added into the list. Right, so we first have GRRR or GRR, GRR, right, or Gorilla. Okay, so this is Gorilla Technology Group. So I'm not gonna talk all about this, or I'm not gonna read this verbatim here. Okay, so this one obviously looks very similar to all the other tickers that I've just shown you guys here on the list. I mean, there's a lot of similarities here, right? There's a lot of macro descending trend lines, and well, these small caps have taken that, right? Right? This descending resistance trend line is a massive theme so far out of all these small caps, because again, small caps have had their moment of glory in 2020 to 2021, but they just absolutely died down around, I think, like mid-late 2021, all the way up into this year, right? Until we start to get that anticipation for rate cuts to come in. I mean, even last year, during the first rate cut, after that complete monetary policy shift, right? We actually got to see small caps having that massive rally, but that rally did not sustained, right? Because it seems like the Feds are a little bit still shaky on what they needed to do, and the markets were just uncertain, right? So small and mid-cap stocks just died down, right? The hype died down, and just continued to stay stagnant. But this year, something changed, right? As more data came in for the overall economy, inflation, the labor market, the Federal Reserve has begun to finally begun its continuation of its rate cut cycle, right? So that this initial rate cut that we got last week literally lit a fire on small caps, right? Small and mid cap stocks. And so that's kind of the major reason why that I have put in so many mid and small cap stocks into the list for this week, right? So I think there's a lot of potential for both of these two small cap stocks. All right, so this is GRRR and then RCAT, RCAT. They've done extremely well so far. GRRR decided to pull back here a little bit, and that's completely fine with me because this one can continue to consolidate before it decides to retest this $26 whole number level, right? Okay, so the next one I have is RCAT. All right, so we're nearly done here. But again, I'm just going over this very, very quickly so you guys can get some sort of sense as to what this week's ideas are. These momentum swing trade ideas are in the list for this week's CFO Swinger Watch Report. And so, this RCAT is looking extremely good today as it made another higher high compared to the previous week's highs here. And I mean, we're in this one today, and I'm glad we got in at a perfect entry point. Personally for me, this is when I made the entry point here, but a very nice pullback. Okay, right here, right in the early morning of this this massive pump up that RCAT had, right? So this nice small pullback back into around 10.80, and I love the fact that it was starting to retest with the 15-minute 10 SMA, and I had to just get in, right? And so it immediately went back up higher, and now it's just consolidating perfectly and tight underneath this massive descending resistance trend line. And again, this descending resistance trend line makes up this massive macro wedge chart pattern that, again, if you guys know the theme by now, this overall consolidation phase that has been going on for this entire year so far, right? So for our cat though, we have a nice massive macro wedge chart pattern, and unlike the other ones where we saw, the bullish pennant chart patterns or just overall, or just a massive descending resistance trend line or a rounded bottom, whatever it may be, right? There are very similar similarities across all the mid and small cap stocks. Okay, so that's what I noticed, and that's exactly the reason why I had so many tickers and swing trade ideas, momentum swing trade ideas specifically in mind for this week. And I really want to add more, but I just couldn't, right? So now the next one is AAOI, which is a carryover from last week's CFO Swinger Watch Report because, well, this is just looking too good as well, right? And AAOI did extremely well today as well. Okay, so very nice bullish engulfing candlestick to start out the day, right? Okay, look at that. All right, very nice bullish engulfing candlestick. Very nice retest of the daily 10 SMA and on the $28 whole number level, and that's exactly where I was expecting to see a nice pivot and bounce for this week's trade idea. Okay. All right, and last week I think it was over $27, right? So this one's looking extremely good, right? A very nice small cap stock, and I'm glad that we revisited this one over the weekend because today absolutely amazing pivot, and it ended up a lot higher compared to what I thought it would end up, where I thought it would end up at. I thought it was going to be around 29, or at least, maybe around like 29.80-ish, okay, around this level here, because I've seen a lot of intraday supply here so far. Okay, so around right here, yeah. So right around here. Okay. But we ended up closing right over it and over $30 as well. So AAOI, keep your eye on this small cap stock. You do not want to miss out on this one too. Okay, and there you have it, right? So this is the entire CFO Swinger Watch Report for this week, and this is obviously the cryptocurrency pick for the week, XLM. I'm not gonna go over that, but there it is. Right? So this is a very nice quick summary of the CFO Swinger Watch Report for this week, and it's again the week of September 22nd through 26th, and it's the 45th volume of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, the new edition. Okay. All right. So again, if you guys just want to read the market summary as well, you guys can just pause, or you guys can just take a screenshot. Okay. Hey, Joel. Yeah, PTON. Looking very good still, right? A lot of these names look really good. All of our mid and small cap stocks that I've included in the MM list for this week. Okay, very nice. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's also go over now, since we're in the topic of small and mid cap stocks, right? So as seen in the title here, okay. I'm basically asking this question of, can the fiscal year of 2026 be the year of small and mid cap outperformance? And well, the simple and I guess logical answer in my personal subjective perspective is yes. Okay, and why is that? Well, we have a lot of factors to go over, but I'll just say the two main ones that I'm thinking about. Okay, so first of all, the large and mega cap outperformance that we've been seeing ever since we came out of the bear market of 2022. Okay, and we've been seeing this outperformance from large and mega cap stocks for 2+ years, and we're still seeing it now, right? And I'm not saying that we're not going to see outperformance anymore from them, because again, they're the ones that make up the market. They're the ones that make up the market cap of the overall market, right? And they're the ones that really move the markets as well and set the sentiment too, believe it or not, right? So I'm not saying they're not going to be performing well anymore, but I think we can start to slowly see as we head into the end of this year and into the fiscal year of 2026, a little bit more solid and a bit more legitimate concentration of money outflow into, and that money outflow into small and mid-cap stocks, right? These two specific asset classes, all right? And the reason being is that, again, we're just seeing too much of this heavy concentration on large and mega cap stocks, and at some point we're going to be seeing sort of this mini bubble bursting from these large and mega cap stocks that have been absolutely going wild for the last 2.5 years, right? So I think it's time that they have their own couple of years to consolidate. Obviously, we're going to be seeing individual strength out of those two asset classes as well from the large and mega cap stocks. But again, I think at some point we need to see some solid performance, or at least ideally, all right, from my ideal perspective, outperformance of small and mid cap stocks, which again, it sounds crazy, right? Because they usually don't have any solid outperformance. They just squeeze higher and then the hype goes down and then that's it, right? We always see small and mid cap stocks just being absolutely being used as pump and dumps, right? Many times, even if they are quality, very good, valuable quality small and mid cap stocks, right? So, that is the main reason, right? Where I want to see this just a simple money rotation, right? Of simple money outflow and money inflow from large cap stocks and mid cap stocks to small and mid cap stocks. Okay. Now, the second reason that I think this could happen, where 2026 could start to see this over exuberance of bullishness and just hype coming into small and mid cap stocks, are rate cuts, right? Rate cuts is the name of the game for the overall momentum that we're currently starting to see. Again, this is just the early innings of the momentum that we're seeing so far in the small and mid cap asset classes. But again, I think that the rate cuts will be able to sustain the current initial momentum that we're seeing now for the longer haul, right? So rate cuts have to continue to come in an orderly fashion, and not seeing long periods of pauses like we did so far, right? We've had exactly a year of a pausing period before this recut came in last week, right? So I think even if we were to pause, it just should be at least a couple of months, or at least from an FOMC meeting schedule perspective, right? At least in between a couple of FOMC meetings, maybe one or two, but that's it, right? I want to see some solid rate cuts coming in, right? Consistent, consecutive rate cuts that will sustain the current initial rallies and momentum, bullish momentum that small and mid cap stocks are currently being presented with, right? And I really hope that for the longer haul, we can see that rate cuts solidify the current sentiment that they're getting right now, right? And this week was a fresh new week for more and more small and mid cap bulls to start coming in, and hopefully longer term buyers who have been in painfully. Again, I can remind you again, painfully been in small and mid cap stocks for the last 2.5 years, while they've been looking at all the large and mega cap stocks going absolutely ballistic, can finally begin to add more into their principal positions on small and mid cap stocks, especially if they are in quality, valuable small and mid cap stocks. And hopefully they can, just continue to support the price higher for the longer haul. And again, all of that relies on, most importantly, the rate cuts. Okay. Now, a third reason, okay, is what I'm seeing now, right? So there's a reason to believe that small and mid-cap stocks will continue to go up higher into the end of this year, so all of Q4. And even if there is a small market pullback and small and mid-cap stocks do take a little hit, I think the pullback is going to be relatively shallow and all the dips will be bought in all small and mid-cap stocks that have already made a run so far to the top side. Okay, and again, the reason being is that, well, today was a great example, all right, because we are seeing a huge, I can't, underline this enough, right? A huge increase and expansion of breadth in just the small and mid-cap stocks alone. Just in these two asset classes alone, we're starting to see a huge jump and expansion in market and overall breadth of these two specific asset classes. And while that's happening, right, and again, today was a great day to see that, we're starting to see a bit more divergences occurring in the overall large and mega cap asset classes. For example, if we just take a look at the overall Max 7 stocks, right? For example, Nvidia, right? Nvidia and Apple were the only ones really leading the markets today, right? Nvidia and Apple here, okay? But if we take a look at the other Magnificent 7 stocks, Max 7 stocks, look at Amazon. Amazon actually began to roll down, right? And I think Netflix also had a pretty good tight day, but it really didn't make much of a move, right? So we're really starting to see this overall divergence occurring with these Max 7 stocks and overall leading software and semiconductor stocks. So again, large and mega cap asset class stocks, right? That are just seeing this divergence of strength, and it seems like a lot of money is just being moved around just within these two asset classes alone. And so what I'm hoping to see, again, it goes right back into that first point that I made, right, of the overall money rotation, where we see money outflow from the large and mega cap cap stocks, and the money inflow into small and mid cap stocks, right? And so today was a great example of that again, right? We're starting to see a lot of overall breadth expansion in IWM and MDY, right? So Russell 2000 and the Midcap 400, right? They're all seeing some massive breadth expansions that are slowly confirming my overall thesis that for the longer haul, we will be seeing some overall bullish momentum and just continuous bids for the longer haul. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense, guys. Right? So those are my three major reasons. That's the reasons why I truly believe that 2026 could really be a year of focusing on and finding really good quality, valuable small and mid-cap stocks that have all the potential to get out of being classified as being small and mid-cap stocks and turning into those large and mega-cap stocks of the future. Does that make sense? Right? And if you guys haven't noticed already, right, if you guys did not notice it, I have already provided in the list and even last week's list, I provided small cap and mid cap stocks that really have that potential to continue to go up higher and to have and to see their valuations increasing into 2026 and all of 2026, so that they can eventually climb up that ladder of market capitalization and eventually find themselves in a valuation where they can be officially classified as large and mega cap stocks, right, of the future. Okay, so that is my overall kind of conclusion as to where I want my overall thesis to head towards, right? So well, if I just want to be a bit more specific on that, what I just said to you guys, AAOI, a little wink there for you guys, this small cap stock has a lot of potential to potentially rise up towards a valuation to become a mid cap stock into 2026. So make sure you guys take a look at this one, right? And all the other small and mid-cap stocks that I just mentioned and shown you guys in this week's CFO Swinger Watch Report. Okay, so I think this is something that you guys should really concentrate on and don't take it too lightly here. I really think that you guys should understand where I'm coming from, and I think you guys should comprehend it, and most importantly, remember it so that it becomes applicable into the end of this year and into next year as well. Do nothing. Thank you for the go emojis. But yes, into next year as well. Okay, does that make sense, guys? I really think that you guys should really concentrate on this entire video that I've just done for you guys, for any of the people who are watching the replay. But for all the people that are here now in the live stream, please remember everything that I'm telling you right now, right? It's very critical and crucial that you guys understand where I'm coming from and why I think that small and mid-cap stocks can really outperform, or at least perform extremely well into 2026 and for the entire year, the entire fiscal year of 2026. Okay, and I have a lot more reasons and a plethora of data to give to my CFO Swinger Watch Report readers. So please, if you guys are interested in becoming a reader, right, don't just stay on the sidelines. Check us out, right? You guys can simply look at the second link that's provided down below in the description box and become a reader today by simply choosing whatever tier that you guys want to choose. We have tiers 1 through 4, and become a reader and obviously become a private member of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, the CFO Discord community. Okay, so again, there's a lot of other things that I really want to divulge with you guys right now, but I will hold off because this is information that is only for my report readers and the private members of the CFO Discord. So if you guys want an early, this is a fair warning here. If you guys really want an early look as to what I'm truly thinking about for 2026 and especially even into 2027, make sure you guys become a reader of the CFO Swinger Watch Report, where you guys will automatically gain full access to the private CFO Discord community. Alright, so with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys again on Wednesday at the same time at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and good night.